Voters in Iran head to the polls today in the country's first parliamentary elections following the country's nuclear deal. The national security and political analyst Arash Aramesh joins me now from San Francisco. Good morning, Mr. Aramesh.
Glad to be here.
So what impact could that deal have on voting in Iran?
Well, it's election day for two big things. One is the Assembly of Experts. That assembly potentially gets to pick and also monitor the behavior of the supreme leader, which we know is definitely by far at the very top of the pyramid in the power structure in Iran. The second election being held simultaneously is the parliamentary elections. Now, the proponents and supporters of the current president, Mr. Hassan Rouhani, who has been portrayed as a moderate, would like to get as many seats as possible against hardliners who happen to close ranks with Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader, and also some hardline elements within the IRGC, the military, the coercive apparatus, and so on and so forth. So while these elections are by no stretch of the imagination free or fair, again, they can have some impact, especially in terms of how the current government and its foreign policy and domestic agendas can actually balance against the supreme leader and the hardliners.
And this is an election, isn't it, with, well, hundreds of competitors. There are more than 6,000 candidates battling for 290 seats. It sounds quite chaotic. Tell us a bit more about how it works.
Well, to start from the very beginning, about 12,000 candidates were there. About 6,000 of them, more than 50% of those parliamentary candidates were sacked. So on the Assembly of Experts also, you have about 800 candidates, about half of those guys were sacked. There is an organization called the Guardian Council. That Guardian Council, very close to the hardliners, gets to pick that who gets to run and who doesn't run. So it is not exactly, you wouldn't call these elections exactly competitive. Again, as I said, by no stretch of the imagination. These are not liberal, democratically held elections as we have in the West. But again, we're also not dealing with a state that only goes through appointed and very hardline theocratic, undemocratic means. While there is a theocratic, anti-democratic, and selected establishment in place, there are also some means and avenues and venues of democratic expression saved. Now, I don't think this is really, no matter who comes to power in these elections, really going to change the behavior of the Islamic Republic as we know it. But again, it could perhaps, some people are hopeful that it could perhaps create a venue or some stream through which the moderates and those who support the government of President Rouhani against the hardliners in Iran could have a bigger breathing room and could also push further for the agenda, which is for the most part economic development, getting the Iran deal through, and also having a less tense and a less hostile relationship with the West and with the neighbors in the Persian Gulf and also the Mideast region.
Well, fascinating events in Iran. We'll be following them here on Sky News. Arash Aramesh, thank you very, very much for joining us.